What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another Premier League predictions video, and I know what you're thinking. Two things. We'll start with the shirt, and I know you're probably thinking, you're a Chelsea fan, why are you wearing a Leeds shirt? Well, my dad's a Leeds fan. I like Leeds. I don't care. Fuck off. Anyway, second thing that you might have noticed is the tash. It is Movember, so you know I've gone for the tash. I've gone for the little whatever that is, sideburns and all. It's for a good cause, you know. It's for Movember. I'm going to put a link down in the description for you guys to potentially donate. You know, I know charity starts at home, but it is an important cause, you know, for men's health. So anything that you can give would be greatly appreciated. But if not, as I said, it's totally understandable. With all that being said, let's get into the video. Now, looking at last week's predictions, we've got a pretty similar story. It's just got worse. It's just got worse. I've equaled my worst score again. With that being said, it's not actually that bad of a score. Why is it flashing? It's not that bad of a score, right? Because I got 4 of the 10 results right, but that just doesn't really translate well with the score. You know, obviously didn't get the correct score on any of them, which never helps, but it was an alright week. I mean, it's just a shoddy score, to be honest. And last week's video, Shishe Cassetti did comment on my video, so thank you very much for doing so. You're a bit similar to myself. You only got 4 of the 10 results right as well, but there were some decent predictions in there. You were quite close on a couple of the games, so thank you very much for commenting anyway. And guys, if you want to get shout out in the next video, make sure to comment down below. Let me know your score predictions for this game week coming up, and you will potentially get shout out depending on how many of you there are. If there's like 20 people, that is being ambitious, by the way. If there are 20 people who comment, I'm obviously not going to shout all 20 people, but you know, the best ones will get called out. It's cool. As I always say, you can show your friends. They're not going to know who I am, but you know who I am. And that's all that matters. The first game of the game week takes place on a Friday night. It's Southampton at home to Aston Villa. It's 14th versus 15th in this fixture. Two teams that ultimately want to be improving on their season so far. Directly comparing the two squads, most weeks I say this about Aston Villa, but they are probably the better squad. However, their form just has not translated that. They've lost their last 4 games on the bounce, and they just haven't looked competitive in any of those games. Southampton, on the other hand, haven't had the best start to the season. However, they are unbeaten in their last 3 games, winning 2 and drawing the other, which is an impressive record for them. As I said last week, the thing with Southampton is it's not a case of them losing a lot of games. They've only lost 3 of the 10 so far, which isn't so bad, but it's the 5 draws that they've picked up along the way this season, which is just not helping them pick up points, and those points that they are dropping is ultimately the reason why they are so low down the table. Aston Villa, on the other hand, have lost 6 of their 10 games so far, and you can't help but feel like the clock is ticking for Dean Smith with this Aston Villa side, considering how much money they spent. I think this is going to be quite a close game, and I'm going to go for a surprising result for some. I'm going to go for an Aston Villa win, and I think they are just about going to edge it 2-1. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Southampton managed to pick up some points in this game, maybe even a win, but I just think that the quality difference between the two sides is going to make the difference in this game, and I think that Aston Villa are going to take the 3 points. Holy shit, the first game on a Saturday is a belter. We've got Manchester United at home to Manchester City. It is a Manchester derby, and it is a very important one at that. Manchester United are really trying to get their title hopes back on track after a bit of a mismatch of a start to the season. Manchester City hoping to improve on their fine form despite the loss in their last game against Crystal Palace. And that's not the only shock that Man City have suffered this season, obviously losing against Spurs on the opening day of the season and being held to a 0-0 draw at home to Southampton. What I'm essentially trying to say is, based on that, you can't completely discount Manchester United, especially when you've got the Ronaldo factor to take into account as well. Ronaldo was pivotal in their win at the weekend against Spurs. Without him against Atalanta midweek, they just simply would not have drawn that game. I think if you're going to draw a favourite out of the two sides, it would probably be Manchester City, based on the consistency that they have shown this season compared to Manchester United. But anything can happen in a derby. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's actually got a very good record against Pep in the league. I genuinely think that this game could go either way. This is a bit controversial. I'm going to go for a Manchester United win. Any result in this fixture will not surprise me, but I am going to go for a Manchester United win, and I think they're going to edge this one 2-1. I think Ronaldo is going to make the difference. He's going to really be hyping up the guys around him. He's going to be hyped up for this game, and I would not be surprised to see him nod in a late winner in this fixture. The first 3 o'clock kickoff on the Saturday is Brentford at home to Norwich. Brentford obviously started the season fantastically. However, they've lost 3 out of the last 4 games, and a dip in form is not really what they want at this point of the season, considering their strong start. Moving from a strong start that's toppled off to a poor start that just hasn't got going. Norwich find themselves rock bottom of the table after 10 games with just 2 draws to show for it. At this stage of the season, compared to that famous Derby team that had the lowest ever points total in the Premier League, Derby had more points points than them at this point in the season, which just reflects so poorly on Daniel Farke and Norwich this season. This is a real opportunity for Brentford to get that ball rolling again and make something happen and get the 3 points in this fixture. There's not really a lot to say about this fixture. You know, when you've got Brentford with the likes of Ivan Toney and Buemo, who are fantastic going forward for them, against a poor defence of Tim Krul, who I don't know how he let in that shot against Rodrigo in the last game. The whole Norwich defence looked poor. The midfield looked poor. The attack looks poor, and I can only see this going one way, which is a Brentford win. I'm going to go for a 3-0 Brentford win. I think this is going to be really convincing for them. I think despite the fact that they haven't had the best of results in the last few games, I don't think that is going to faze them at all in absolutely blowing away Norwich in this fixture. By the way, guys, I do just very quickly want to stop this video to say if you are enjoying the video so far, please make sure you hit the like button down below, subscribe, and let me know what your predictions are for this game week, because I do genuinely enjoy reading, and it is always fun to give people shout outs in the week after, because if you don't, then I'm just going to be begging you next week, and it gets very messy. So, you know, please, for the sake of me being happy and for the sake of you guys potentially being on the internet forever, yeah, just comment, please. Thanks. Back to the video. Up next now, we've got my team Chelsea against Burnley. Now, about 3 weeks ago, I would have been looking at this fixture thinking, easy, easy. And to be fair, I'm still very confident about this fixture. However, Burnley have looked a hell of a lot better since the arrival of Maxwell Cornet. In Burnley's last 5 games, they have only actually lost once, and that was against Manchester City, which is incredibly understandable. However, the fact that they are unbeaten in 4 of their last 5 games is impressive for them at this point of the season, despite the fact that they've only picked up 1 win. Chelsea, on the other hand, have won all 4 of their games since that loss against Manchester City at home, and just seem to be getting stronger and stronger. That 7-0 Norwich thumping characterises that, and I just can only see us going up and up and up. Now, I don't think that we're going to smash Burnley in the same way that we smashed Norwich. However, I do think it's going to be very comfortable for us, and I don't think that we are going to concede, despite how well Maxwell Cornet and Burnley have been going forward in their last couple of games. Because what you've got to take into account is in the last few games, Burnley have been playing weaker opposition. In this fixture, I think Chelsea are going to win fairly comfortably. I don't think that we're going to concede, and I do think that we are going to win this one 3-0. I think it's going to be comfortable. We're still obviously missing Timo and Romelu Lukaku, but we've been coping fine without, scoring 10 in our last 2 games, and I still think we're going to be alright in this game to win 3-0. The last of the 3 o'clock kickoffs that we're going to focus on now is Crystal Palace at home to Wolves. 2 teams that find themselves in slightly better form than I think people would have expected at this point of the season. After a disappointing start to the season, Wolves have actually won 4 out of their last 5 games, drawing the other, really starting to turn their season around. Whilst Crystal Palace's last 5 games don't necessarily look as impressive as Wolves on paper, 4 draws and 1 win, they managed to win against Manchester City, draw against impressive teams in the shape of Leicester, Arsenal, Brighton and Newcastle, who realistically they should have been beating. Irrespective of that, however, they are some impressive results for them, and this does make this fixture very entertaining and also difficult to predict. Conor Gallagher is absolutely loving life on loan from Chelsea at Crystal Palace this season, with 3 goals and 2 assists so far this season. Hwang Hee-chan has settled in very quickly at Wolves as well, already with 4 goals, and Raul Jimenez is starting to look better each game he plays. It's a tricky game to predict, and I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think it's going to be entertaining, and I do think that there are going to be goals, but I can't quite pick a winner between the 2 sides. This could be a potential 5-pointer in the bag for me here. The late kickoff on Saturday is Brighton at home to Newcastle, and these are 2 teams coming into this one that are really not on a good run of form. Brighton started the season very impressively, however they haven't picked up a win in their last 5 games, despite Norwich making up one of those 5 fixtures. Newcastle, on the other hand, are yet to win all season, and without a manager still, I can only see them struggling in this fixture. Whilst Brighton haven't picked up a win in their last 5 games, it's important to remember that they have played the likes of Arsenal, Man City and Liverpool, of which they got 2 draws out of those 3 games, which is very impressive. I think with Basuma back in the side, I think they are going to win this game fairly comfortably, and I think that this win will give them a lot of confidence going into future games. I think they're going to win this one fairly comfortably, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Brighton. Obviously, Newcastle have got the likes of St Maximin, Almiron, fucking Joe Linton, Callum Wilson, who could easily score, but I don't know what it is. I think maybe just the lack of manager for me is making me think that they're not going to get anything out of this, as much as I'd love them to. I'm sticking to my guns, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Brighton. Now, the first of the 3 2 o'clock kickoffs that we're going to be focusing on is Arsenal at home to Watford. Watford have been a mixed bag of apples since they've been promoted from the Championship, and if I'm being perfectly honest, I do think that they will probably go down at the end of the season because of that. However, because you just don't know what to expect, they could very easily get enough points along the way to just about scrape stay staying up. However, I still think they're going to be there or thereabouts when it comes to crunch time at the end of the season. Arsenal, on the other hand, since a disastrous start to the Premier League season, have absolutely smashed it since. And Aaron Ramsdale, by the way, I know everyone's raving about him on social media, but he's been absolutely banging it of late. And I don't think this week is going to be any different. I think that they're going to be fairly comfortable defending this Watford side. One of the things that Mikel Arteta has really focused on and really got well drilled into this Arsenal team is the defensive solidity. It seems that defensively they're sound, midfield they're pretty decent, but going forward they just lack that creativity and that finishing edge to really see out games. I think that Arsenal should be alright in this game. You know, Lacazette, Aubameyang, they should have no problem scoring against this Watford defence. And I think they should be fairly comfortable, so I'm going to go for a 2-0 Arsenal win. Right, ladies and gents, my phone did just crashed and for whatever reason it stopped recording, but I've managed to sort it, so let's get into Everton versus Tottenham. So it is official, Tottenham have now appointed Antonio Conte as the new head coach. The third Chelsea reject manager, by the way, can we just point that out? They've had Andre Villas-Boas, they've had Jose Mourinho, now they've got Antonio Conte, which by the way is no disrespect to any of those managers, but it's just, you know, it's just funny, innit? It's a bit weird. Their form hasn't been great, but ultimately I don't think it was necessarily worthy of him being sacked in the way that he was, if that makes sense. You know, he only had 10 games in the Premier League and the results weren't terrible, you know? When you look at Spurs' next few games, this was a real opportunity for them, with or without Nuno, to really pick up some points. So there's part of me that feels sorry for him, but at the same time, when you look at the stats and you look at how they're one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, they're one of the lowest expected goals teams in the league, it reflects how poorly their performances were on top of the not so great results. Moving on from that though, Everton are another side whose form has drastically dropped off, with no wins in their last 4 and 3 losses in their last 3. It's a real opportunity for either side to kind of get back on board with where they're supposed to be and where they're aiming to be by the end of this season. Keeping this one short and sweet, I don't see Everton winning this one. I think the absence of Doucouré and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is still going to hurt them despite Richarlison coming back into the side. The Spurs players are going to want to impress their new managers, try and stake a claim for first team football under their new head coach. For that reason and that reason alone, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Tottenham. And I was going to say 1-0, but I do think when you look at the attacking talent that Tottenham have, there's no reason why they shouldn't be scoring at least 2 against this Everton side. The second to last game of this game week is Leeds at home to Leicester. Which of these two L clubs are going to take the L? That was fucking dreadful. Leeds, still without Patrick Bamford, find themselves in 17th place, floating just above the relegation zone, which is not where they should be and not where they want to be either. Their performances haven't been great, and you can tell that they've been overly reliant on the likes of Bamford, Rafinha and Calvin Phillips in order for Marcelo Bielsa's side to perform well. Leicester, on the other hand, after a poor start to the season, have kind of found their form a little bit, despite the 2-0 loss against Arsenal, which is pretty poor from them, to be honest. The wins against Brentford and Manchester United in their 2 games before that characterise how they've kind of gone on a little bit of a comeback trail to try and push up the table and be where they should be and where they want to be in this point of the season. I do still think that the absence of Rafinha is going to hurt them, and they only just narrowly managed to outscore Norwich, who are the worst team in the Premier League, potentially the worst team of the Premier League era so far. It doesn't bode well when you're coming up against a quality side like Leicester. For that reason, I am unfortunately going to go for a Leicester win in this game, and I'm going to go for a comfortable 3-1 win. I think Leeds may potentially nick a goal. You know, they've got different avenues where those goals can come from, but not really enough to see out this Leicester side. I think when you've got the attacking quality that Leicester have against a slightly depleted looking Leeds defence, I think that they are going to be very comfortable in this fixture, and they are going to run riot against Leeds. The last game of the game week is West Ham United at home to Liverpool. Now this brings back classic memories of that FA Cup fixture with Gerrard absolutely twatting one in from about 30 odd yards. Will we see some more of that? Will Hendo launch one in from about 30 yards out? Probably not, but if he does, then this could get clipped and it'd be pretty cool. Liverpool are in fine form at the moment despite throwing away a 2-goal lead to end up drawing against Brighton, which is a poor result by their standards and a game that they should have really been winning comfortably. Honestly, this fixture is a very Liverpool fixture to drop points in, and if they do, it's really going to harm their chances for challenging for the title, especially if Chelsea continue to pick up points. West Ham have won 4 out of their last 5 games, beating teams like Spurs, Everton and Aston Villa in their climb up to 4th place in the Premier League table. Can we just take a minute to appreciate how fantastic that is for a side that are actually also competing in the Europa League and doing well on that front as well, despite also competing in the Carabao Cup. They haven't got the squad luxuries of the likes of Liverpool Liverpool or Chelsea or Manchester City, but they are still doing so well. It feels quite organic in terms of football in the way that they haven't gone out and splashed millions and millions on whoever. They've kind of built and nurtured this side in a similar way maybe to Liverpool. I mean, I know Liverpool spent a ridiculous amount of money on a goalkeeper and centre-back, but the team that they've got at the moment, they have made themselves, and I think that's a very impressive feat and something that should definitely be appreciated. Enough waffling, I'm going to get straight into the result, and I actually think that Liverpool are going to drop points in this fixture again, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think that West Ham are going to frustrate them, but I don't think they've quite got enough to get the win. If they do, I kind of won't be surprised. However, if Liverpool also come out and win this comfortably, I will not be surprised either way. This is one of these fixtures where literally anything can happen. Right, that's it guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I hope you have enjoyed. Comment down below your predictions. As I say, I like reading them and it's cool. You get to show off to all your friends that you're on YouTube. You know, it's pretty cool. Subscribe so you don't miss any more content. Me and my dad are going up to Morecambe this weekend and we will be vlogging it and bringing that to you on Saturday evening. Sunday, I'm hoping to have another FIFA video out as well, so it's a busy week for me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace and love.